Hello and welcome to the deepest dive for Animal Crossing New Horizons from MinnMax. I'm Ben Hansen, joined today by Ana Diaz.
Hi.
Welcome. Formerly of Polygon, is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, I was there for 3 months as an editorial intern, and I've been involved in the local games media scene here.
In Minneapolis. Yes, you're working out with Glitch and stuff. That seems very cool. We have Sarah Podzorski. Welcome.
Hello.
The localization expert, as you demand to be called. Okay. Working on Xenoblade Chronicles X, Monster Hunter World, stuff like that while you're in Japan. Great.
Yeah.
And then Kelsey Lewin. Perfect. Kelsey Lewin, the co-owner of Finkerilla Games and the co-director for Video Game History Foundation. Welcome back.
Hi. Thanks for having me again.
Oh my God, it's an honor. Okay, we're here to dive even deeper. They said it wasn't possible. We're going to dive even deeper into Animal Crossing New Horizons thanks to the MinnMax community. A lot of people wrote in talking about their experience with the game. I thought we got a lot of the basics out of the way with last week's Game Club, and now with this one, it's going to get more specific, a lot more little stories along the way, stuff like that. But if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to unlock the podcast version of it, you can go to patreon.com/MinnMax2wins. Support us at the $5 tier. You get access to the podcast version of this deepest dive, then also the Final Fantasy VII remake coming up, and you can go back in time and ironically check out our Chrono Trigger deepest dive, which, Kelsey, you said you actually checked that out?
I did. I watched the entire thing. It was really good.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's 6 hours of us talking. Thank you for listening to that.
I did speed it up a little bit, but I do that for everything I listen to. I listen to everything at 1.25 speed because I don't know.
Yeah.
I can talk to people normally. I don't want people to speed up in real life, but when I'm listening to a podcast or something, I'm like, no, go faster, go faster.
Yeah. It's the ultimate sign, the tip of the cap if I play a podcast at 1.0 speed, because now it's 1.75 is kind of my default for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope people aren't offended by that. But anyways, if you don't want to support us at the $5 tier, by the way, if you support us at any tier on Patreon, then you get access to the Discord, which is a lovely place to talk about Animal Crossing. There's confusingly multiple channels of people talking about Animal Crossing. I saw somebody jump in there today and said their turnips are worth 500 or something absurd.
What?
Yeah, so you
Get
might
me
think
high now. God, okay, stop it.
Yeah, it seems like Sarah, what has the last week of Animal Crossing been like for you?
Oh my God. I feel it's weird because I feel like I've hit grizzled war vet territory of Animal Crossing now. I've hit walls, I've hit limitations. I've cursed Nintendo many a time, taking my fist in the air, trying to do things. I'm oh my God. So I guess to start off,
is the bloom off the rose overall? Is that the takeaway?
It's not off the rose, but I'm I thought that this was gonna be a red rose, but it's blue. So I'm what?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a hybrid. That's more exciting.
Now it's a hybrid.
You can save that to give someone.
It's expensive, but yeah, I mean, a lot happened. Resident services opened. I got my campsite. I got more animals. The Able sisters moved in. I'm starting to place things. And the permanence of it gave me because they give it to you all at once. They're here you go. And I just was having anxiety. I was this is permanent. I'm gonna have to pay 50,000 bells to move this.
Yeah.
So it has to be perfect.
What type of stuff? You're talking about Able sisters, placing that?
Yeah, the Able sisters. I tried to place a few bridges. And the game is really picky about bridges and ramps and where you can and cannot place them.
Yeah.
So had a few hissy fits about that.
I'm amazed by your progress so far. So what unlocks the Able sisters? Because I don't have them yet.
You have to spend 5,000 bells, I believe, when Mabel comes to your town.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
How is
you
everyone?
Got to stimulate the economy.
Is everybody looking at guides to figure this stuff out, or do you all just have Animal Crossing in your DNA at this point, and you just know what to do?
The rumor mill. I'm tapped into the rumor mill.
Where is that rumor mill? The MinnMax Discord, beyond the Reddit? Where are you guys going for information?
Okay, this is wild, but I've been finding really good fishing guides on TikTok. And I've been vetting all of them. Because the videos are so short, and so actually it's a really good format for really concise, really specific guides. And so there'll be a really specific topic. And I didn't go looking for them. They came to me. The algorithm knew that that's what I was looking for.
That's
Twitter's good for that too.
Yeah.
You'll get a lot of like just random short tips if you follow enough Animal Crossing accounts, or not even Animal Crossing accounts, but like people like us who are just talking about Animal Crossing.
Right. I can't dodge it. Kelsey, what's your last week been like in Animal Crossing?
Pretty similar. I mean, it's just lots of unlocks. I got a really terrible villager as the first villager to move in through the campsite, which I found out that you cannot like avoid. The first person who visits your campsite is going to move in, because I was like, well, maybe I'll wait a day and someone else will come. And no, that's who you're stuck with. Hippo. It's like Hippeaux.
Is it a French hippo?
He looks like he goes to like a private school, like a rich private school. He's got like curly brown hair and is wearing like a sweater vest, and he's pretty awful.
Yeah, sincerely, Eric wrote in and says, I cannot stress enough how much this game is needed at this time in people's lives. Did anyone else immediately dislike any of the other villagers they got? Billy the Goat. Billy the Goat asked me if where he had his tent was a good spot. I said, yeah, dude, awesome. Rocket asked me the same thing. I, without hesitating, said, no, let me find a spot. And then proceeded to run as far away as possible from my actual house to plant the tent. I don't know what it is about them.
I just want to point out that Rocket is a pink gorilla, so I am offended.
Fred DeNovo wrote in, Kelsey, and said, has Kelsey considered the villager Rocket as an official spokesperson for your company?
I don't have Rocket in my town yet, but my husband does.
Oh, that's awesome. So wait, this campsite, I don't have that. How do you get that?
How do you unlock the campsite?
Resident services, I think.
Yeah, you have to unlock resident services. So you have to have the 3 new village. You have to build those 3 houses, and then get resident services. And I forget what exactly the unlock conditions are. I've just kind of been.
He just gives it.
Okay. I think the way I've been playing is just like anything they tell me to do, I just do immediately. And that's like the fastest way to just get everything unlocked.
Yeah, I just unlocked resident services today at the time of the recording, so maybe like tomorrow. Hang on, Sarah, you look horrified by how bad I am at Animal Crossing.
I was just surprised by the progress. Really?
You got your iron though.
Yeah, I got the iron. I feel like I'm really getting there. I'm proud of myself. I've paid off the house, but then I go to your guys' towns and it seems much more impressive. Like, Kelsey, I just swung by your town very quickly before the stream here. My island is called Shangri-La, but that's just bullshit now compared to yours, because yours is just like rows of flowers. It's just this maze of flowers. I've never seen somebody embrace flowers in a bigger way in Animal Crossing.
I'm a really big fan of flower breeding in Animal Crossing. So if you plant some specific flowers next to each other and water them, they have a chance to spawn like a new color flower that you can't buy anywhere else. And so I like to try to fill my town with as much of those as possible. So step 1 of that is just filling the town with as many flowers as possible so that you'll start spawning all of those.
What, is it just for fun, or is there like a strategic advantage? I know with Animal Crossing it's weird to say, but what's the benefit
They look pretty, but also they spawn, I think the peacock butterfly only spawns on hybrid flowers, which is why I gave you some hybrids this morning, so that a peacock butterfly might spawn.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
Getting carried. That's what we call getting carried in Animal Crossing.
Hey, I gave gold to Anna in her house. I was trying to repay the favor in some way.
Yeah.
Gold. I don't know about that exchange rate.
I'll use it. I'll take it and use it to build a Gundam for my town.
Thank you. I thought it was very special, but apparently not. God, I really feel like, we talked about it last time, but I feel like I'm playing this game at a good clip. I'm doing a good job. And then anytime I go online, I'm just horrified by what everybody else is doing. It's just this real feeling of that I'm blowing it. And Sarah, the queen of judgment over here, is not helping the situation.
I think
isn't it funny how that works?
Oh.
Yeah,
Animal Crossing, it's like it's supposed to be this really relaxing game, and then you just go online and you get anxiety because everyone's quote unquote better at it than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been really nice because we're all kind of stuck at the same pace so far. Like I unlocked resident services the same day as most everybody else unlocked resident services. So all of us were like, shadow luck for a day, like it's closed. So it's been fun to keep progress with other people. But but I'm interested to see where we start to like fork off or like we start to like branch off.
Yeah, and it's so sad like visiting other people's towns and just having that feeling of like, oh, I feel terrible. And it's like, wait a minute, they're time travelers. Like Margaret in production back at Game Informer, she time traveled to high heaven. Like it's a nightmare. It actually makes me angry now when people time travel. I've gotten more and more against it. Have you all warmed up to it, or where are you at?
My general rule for time traveling is I'm fine if you time travel, but if you bring me your fishing competition stuff and act like you've achieved something, I'm sorry, but it doesn't count.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry. So back to this question. Does anybody have villagers that they dislike outside of Hippo?
Yes.
Who do you got?
I told myself I would be better. I said that I would be a better person in this Animal Crossing game and I wouldn't abuse my villagers, but I do have a quarantine zone in my town that is surrounded with barbed wire. It's got trash. There's trash all over the ground and weeds and tiki torches, and we don't go there.
Who's in it?
Sylvia's in it, so I call her Karen. And then she has a Karen haircut. Okay, she does. There's a tier system. There's a very strong tier system in place.
Okay. All right. Where's the Karen thing coming from?
Because she has a little Karen haircut, and she's a kangaroo, so she's a mom, and she carries around her baby, and I call her Karen.
Okay. Perfect.
I can see it.
Yeah. That works out. Anna, you got anybody you hate in there?
So I mean, I started with Frida, who's like, I don't know, it's hard because at first I didn't like her. She's like a little goat, I think, or like a ram or something, but rams are male and she's so it's very confusing. But she's been so nice to me lately. She used to be really snooty, like, why are you talking to me? But now she keeps giving me like the best gifts and I'm feeling really torn.
See? They'll evolve. They'll change, you know? Like, at first, Megan really weirded me out. I got, like, this big pink bear. She's just, like, sitting under a tree. But now, it's nice because, like, Hazel, who's my gal on the island, the Uniwow little squirrel, like, she loves Megan for some reason. She's, like, obsessed with Megan. It's like, well, I guess Megan's cool. I guess I'll go along with this. Unlike this weirdo anchovy, like... He's a little bird.
Anchovy was nice to me.
See, I was on board, but he's like this scrawny weirdo. And then he was talking about like, what was he saying? He's like, oh, the bugs were whispering to me last night. They taught me how to create a simple wooden bed. I'm like, what the hell is going on? He's like, I need to get this down before I forget what the bugs told me. I'm like, this guy has got to go. Yeah,
your town is interesting because you have two of the new villagers. There's not a whole lot of new villagers in this game, but Megan and Audie are both like new to this game, which I think is pretty cool because I haven't seen any of the new ones in my town or any of my friends' towns.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Audie's like a fashionable fox. She seems cool. I got no problem with her. J. Walter Weatherman says, hey, everybody, what's your feeling on random villagers? Would you rather be able to choose your villagers by hand, or do you think that would take something away from the game?
Choose them.
I'm doing a mix because I think it does take something away from the game, but also I really want Midge on my island. She's my favorite, so I'm mostly letting it be random, but I'm gonna add like one or two people that I really want.
Yeah, I think I'll go with a mix. I think it'd be fun if friends could suggest, neighbors to each other. Might be a little chaotic, but
I like that.
Yeah.
If you could be like you should move to, if someone's thinking of moving, you could like
I'm gonna
send someone from your friends list, like you should move over there.
Yeah, is there any
far over there?
Is there any way to like
come back?
Can you steer it? Is there any system to try? Like, I desperately want Sven the goat. He's my boy from the GameCube days, but I just have to wait it out.
Oh no, you can get amiibo cards and force them to move in.
Oh, okay. How does that work?
You get these little. I'm so glad I have one. Just like
I have mine.
Just within reach.
Right here.
So you get these amiibo cards, and after a little while in resident services, it unlocks the ability to like just invite these guys to your campsite, and then you invite them like 3 times, and you answer their demands. They demand you give them a gift every time, and then you can convince them to move in.
All right, that seems doable. Brian Londergan says, one aspect of the game I haven't seen talked about too much is the amiibo support for the Animal Crossing figure and card sets. Once you unlock Harv's Island, You are able to scan your own AC amiibo into the game and then use them as models for fun photos on his island. Not only that, but any amiibo scanned will then receive a unique in-game poster purchasable from Nook Shopping. Having lapsed on Animal Crossing the last decade, I don't own any of these amiibo, but I'm really intrigued by the idea of tracking them down to collect these in-game posters. While this game has certainly been a boon in social distancing for America, this minor feature has given me optimism for the day I can finally hunt across my local stores again like it's 2015.
God, as long as Nintendo reprints them. Mm-hmm. Which they haven't yet, as far as I can tell.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
They started being functional in New Leaf. They did like a DLC update for these amiibo cards, and I was like, okay, I'm going to collect them all right now, and then just hope that they also, whenever the next game is announced, they also work for that. But yeah, I haven't seen them in stores or anything.
Oh, God, it's going to be flying off the shelves on eBay. Yarrow says, hey, everybody, loving the game. The interactions between villagers is so cool. I have a workout dude on my island, Axel, who got into an argument with Boomer, who was lazy. Axel got so angry that he stormed off. Whenever I talked to him, he said that Boomer needed to lift some more dumbbells, too, in his brain. Axel also got another one of my villagers, Ellie, to get into working out, and every now and then I'll see them in workout clothes exercising together. I bought a pull-up bar and put it into my house. When I spoke with Axel, he wanted to start up a workout club with other villagers on the island. Yeah, it seems like as more time goes on with Animal Crossing, people are more and more tickled just by the simple interactions. Mm-hmm. Has anything popped up for you all?
I like when they compliment my clothes.
That's a specific thing?
They'll notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have Chev the goat complimented my coat and then wore the same coat as me the next day. So, of course, I had to follow her around to take a picture. Yeah.
You're going to go back home and just be sitting in your bed waiting for you. What do we got? So Mark Cruz says, 2 days after I gave medicine, my animal friend Flurry the hamster remembered and gave me a present. Days later is what surprised Mark. Also, he says, I love how all the villagers turn around and wave and smile when you leave their houses after visiting. That is very sweet. I also
really like that they respond to the emotion things that you can do. I don't know what you call those, but if you tap the wave emotion, they'll wave back at you and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or if you sneeze on them, they'll step back and be a little horrified.
Social distancing.
Yeah, exactly.
They got it. I had a weird thing too where the residential services opened this morning and it was like a big celebration, and I was freaking out because I was counting the villagers there, and I was like, wait a minute. Where's Hazel? I think she's gone. She's gone. It's I was so paranoid. I ran to her house. No, it was locked. I guess she was home, but just didn't come. But then later on, one of the other villagers was like, oh, Hazel's actually sick today. It's what a weird thing. So she wasn't in that cutscene because...
Did you bring her medicine?
No, I can't get into her house. I don't know what to do.
But you weren't... Because if you're online and your villager is sick, then you can't visit them. But offline, you can bring her medicine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And by online, you just mean somebody is on your island at that moment? Or gates are open?
Or your gates are open.
I bet that's what it was. I bet that's why I couldn't go inside. Does that mean she's dying right now in that house? And I should say Hazel?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The blood is on your hands.
She's coronavirus and you have the cure.
Oh no. Jesse Y says the attention to detail was brought up in the last game club, but I just can't get over it. Villagers that comment on what you wear mention things that you're doing the day before, and they quote this. This is amazing. Apparently villagers said, "Were you really out hitting rocks?" Not that I was watching. And then Jesse says, and I've even gifted a villager with a flamingo, and they put it in their house. How the game's characters are so adaptive to everything is extremely impressive. It must have been an absolute nightmare to code, translate, and localize, but it's not going unnoticed. They want everybody to know. So Rock Party wrote in, talking about, he had a funny story. He talked about it on our MinnMax podcast, but he was talking about how he really wanted this stupid elephant bro to leave. So he just kept hitting him with a net. And then it got to the point where the elephant sat down and cried and explained that he doesn't have many friends. And so then he completely 180. So can you
That was probably random.
Do you think so?
Right?
Well, I mean, they'll definitely react in sad ways. So, okay, so hitting animals doesn't affect them, deciding to move or not. And it never has. It's always just been a therapeutic thing that we think helps, but it doesn't. But I feel like they've kind of amped up the, guilt factor in this game. Like if you start being mean to people, they'll be like, "Hey, man, you're being like that's pretty messed up of you."
So the only way to get him to move then is by talking to Isabel?
Not even that.
Not even. They either randomly leave or I'm not there yet, but I'm pretty sure that once you have 10 people in your town, you can start kicking people as you invite new people.
Oh, wait. So I talked to Isabel and she's like, "Do we got a problem here?" And then eventually I was like, no, never mind. Everything's good. And she's like, "Oh, thank God, because I hate confrontation. I don't want to deal with it." But if I kept going with that discussion, what happens then?
So in previous games, that feature was for like, let's say someone moved into your town from another town and someone had given them like a bad catchphrase, like a curse word or a slur or something like that, or they were wearing something really offensive, like someone made a custom pattern and they started wearing it and it was like, I don't know, offensive in some way, and it would just kind of like reset them to like the blank slate version of themselves. I don't know if that's how it works in this game, but that's how it's been in past games.
Okay, gotcha. What has stood out from you all traveling to other islands out there?
I mean, the creativity of people, definitely. I'm trying to think of a really good example, but I feel like every time I visit somewhere, there's always something like really personal on everyone's island that's cool to see.
Yeah, like my friends Grant and Amy, their island, they've made it like a giant murder mystery, and they just have like blood splattered over and like clues going around the island. It's very confusing.
That's so cool.
It's a good touch. Or on the less creative side, but just impressive side, Anna, your bathroom is huge and just lovely.
Yeah. Well, I want to build it out to an entire spa, just like a place to relax, and then maybe take out the toilet. But, that's like the furniture that I happen to get right now. So, that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
I've been seeing people do, like, what I really like is custom designs in houses. So people putting their favorite albums on a wall. I feel like I get to know them and be like, "Oh, I didn't know you listened to that artist." I've been really enjoying like the interior decorating a lot.
Yeah, it seems like people are really going nuts with like the importing images things. Like I saw Dan Reichert like lined his house with pictures from Facebook of like our friend Tim Turry, and like he didn't know that, so then he just like walked into the house and was like, "What the hell?" Speaking of what the hell, Kelsey, there's a bird on your shoulder.
Yeah, I've just realized that I forgot to put him in the other room, so I hope he doesn't start screaming.
Oh my God. No wonder you like Animal Crossing. That's adorable. That's amazing. Phil Criffo says, "Hey, it's my first time playing an Animal Crossing game. I'm sticking with it despite not completely being hooked at this point. The only thing I think would tie the experience together is interacting with my friends online, visiting each other and sharing things. I don't have an online subscription, but I certainly will get one as I think it's the only way for the game to make sense in the long term. Are y'all finding fun outside of the online mode? Is Animal Crossing a viable single-player game? How did previous gen games work on that front?"
I like the single player.
Same. If you're in for the online mode, you're gonna be disappointed. Like, I don't know what magic you think will occur online, but it's very similar to single player.
Yeah, and it's like
I don't know. I mean, it's cool. Like you can have cool moments and cool events, but it's not like it doesn't like open up a whole new world or anything. It's just kind of like now you can share things with your friends, and if you find something you think they like, you can send it to them in a letter, and you can hit them with a net and stuff.
right.
Well, and I find myself going online to sort of play by myself too a little bit. Like, oh, I want to go meet all of your villagers, like stuff that you would sort of do that I would do in my own town without the internet.
Yeah. What do you all think? Have you tried playing hide and go seek? No.
Yes.
I haven't. Okay.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I haven't tried it yet.
Okay, it's like it's what a stupid question, but it's like I did have fun like with my friends playing hide and go seek. Except we're trying to figure out the perfect rules. So if anybody out there has the perfect example
that's
of like,
what I'm thinking.
Because it seems like the museum that just has to be off limits. It's too big. Even like all indoors
just
debatable.
in the museum or don't include it.
Don't include. Although that's also a twist. That's a fun variant. Just in the museum, hide and go seek.
Yeah. I played just in the museum, and it was really fun. And I had a friend who like set up an entire agenda for an evening. So like he planned like a bug catching hunt, fishing competition, like a bunch of competitions, and he had like timers and rules and like enough structure around it that it was really fun. And there was like only 4 people, so not people coming and going as well.
Oh wow. I saw some clip online of people like turning it into a deathmatch competition of like creating an arena, and then like you score a point if you hit somebody else with the axe or the net or something, like just trying to create their own fun.
Net tag.
Yeah. Imran Khan writes in and says, hey, so with coronavirus basically setting society on fire, both my girlfriend and I have gone into lockdown quarantine. Part of it is an abundance of caution. A much bigger part of it is that I'm immunocompromised, so it's genuinely dangerous for me to go outside now. I've been going stir crazy. Understandably, this was starting to put a strain on our relationship, but the release of Animal Crossing has opened a window for us. On the first night we just visited each other's islands and gave each other tours. Our daily phone conversations have been held while hanging out in our towns, to the point where we both now have date spots with each other, each hidden away in the far cliffs where no other villagers can have access. I've covered mine in flowers and bamboo. She built a porch swing facing the ocean for us. We send each other gifts most days, draw on each other's announcement boards, and generally just make the best of the new situation. I didn't expect Animal Crossing to be the thing that makes this whole quarantine thing bearable, but it's definitely a solve that came out of nowhere for us. How sweet. Thank you for bragging about your girlfriend, Imran. That's great. Andrew Craig writes in, and he managed to get his wife into the game. She wasn't really into games before, but now he says, his wife wakes me up. My wife wakes me up in the morning so we can watch the daily announcements together. She uses the online features to play and keep up with friends. She falls asleep to the sound of planting orchards or fishing so I can afford the next upgrade to my house. During such a confusing time, Animal Crossing New Horizons has provided us a sense of calm, a consistent topic of discussion, and finally helped my girlfriend understand my hobby. So he says wife and girlfriend. Unclear if these are two separate people, but Andrew...
We're just quiet.
Yeah, you do your own thing,
paying
man.
off his house for him. As she pays off my house for me.
Yeah, have at it. BeatenDownBrian saying, hey, what's your favorite internet trend or meme to come from the game or community so far? Has anything stood out to y'all?
Oh my gosh. The Tiger King
Yes.
and Animal Crossing memes are so funny.
What?
It's like this weirdly niche thing that I would have never anticipated, but now the audience is like really large.
Are they like playing on like the villagers that are tigers? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I have not seen it. Like, do you have examples of what people are doing online to like mirror it?
Yeah, I saw a video. So if you've seen Tiger King, there's this character named Carol, and she's kind of this hippie-ish cat sanctuary owner. So very kind of like a yoga's teacher. She talks really funny, and she makes these vlogs. And so there are these Animal Crossing edits of people playing Animal Crossing with their like tigers and cats trapped, and then it's her voice in the background saying, hello, cats and kittens.
I think it goes, hey there, all you cool cats and kittens, Carol here. And then she walks past the tiger in a cage, and it's like, we've stopped feeding live rabbits to the tigers.
Perfect. Terrell Tolliver. By the way, Kelsey, your camera keeps flickering in and out, but it's fine. It's still working just fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. Terrell Tolliver is saying, hey, this is my first time playing an Animal Crossing game, and my wife is playing with me. It's also her first Animal Crossing game. My one issue is that I'm a little torn on the fact that you have to share an island with multiple people if you're playing on the same Switch. On one hand, we like working together to build up the island, but on the other hand, there are small quirks that almost make the game feel competitive. For example, we don't share DIY recipes, so if I find one first, she can't have it and vice versa. The villagers on the island also give me gifts, but I never have given her any. We make it work and just share our craft items with each other, but I can't imagine being a kid and trying to play this game with siblings. Yeah, and Tim Laro says, I've been sharing an island with my wife, and while she's enjoying the game immensely, there's always the annoyance that I am always the, quote, island representative, so certain story items will only play out for me, and also sometimes I miss out on the celebrations, as she will often be the first to log on. I have to say I'm a bit disappointed that we essentially have to split the enjoyment of this game instead of having our own islands.
Yeah, so I think as a professional Animal Crossing player, my one piece of advice is don't share.
Don't share anything.
Ever.
Yeah, that's probably fair advice, but there's so many people that are getting screwed by this system.
Yeah,
it just seems
for
so
sure.
stupid.
It's definitely not fair. It's not a good system.
I mean,
especially because,
do you think that there's a technical reason for it? What's going on here?
I'm guessing it's just supposed to be like the older games where, you know, the original game where you're supposed to share the town with people in your house or whatever, and sometimes you'd go to the store and someone would have already bought the shovel for the day or whatever, and how frustrating, and you need to work together. But I think we're just like past that now. We're a lot less patient of people these days than we were in the early 2000s. I feel like, so it kind of doesn't fly anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine this is something they would patch out, but I think it would just be a godsend if they could. But even at that point, then everyone who's sharing an island now, it's like, oh, great, thanks. Now I can start over on my own island and redo all that stuff. So there's no real good way to go about it. Let's see. We have, Ethan Horn. He says, all right, let's talk about it. Thomas Nook. Everyone loves making fun of him, declaring him a despot or the hero of the people, but actually, what do you think about him? I find most people love the jokes, but ultimately thumb through the dialogue and treat him as a game mechanic more than anything else. How does everyone actually feel about Tom Nook? And ultimately, what is the ideal arc over the next several Animal Crossing games for this now iconic Tanuki? How do you all feel? Do we all secretly like Tom Nook, or are we still angry at this guy?
I mean, he's chubby. He's so cute.
And like the texture on him now looks so great. Every time there's like kind of a close up, it's like, oh, I want to rub my hand on his head.
But
I like Tom Nook.
Yeah, he's a good like controversial fave, I think. It's like I can't 100% love him, but he has little quirks now. They gave him more of a personality. They gave him like he loves to golf now. He has a tiny little golfy thing in his tent. He loves KK Slider. Like he is the biggest KK Slider fan. Like I made it my life's mission to bring KK Slider to my island for Tom Nook because he's such a big fan. Like at work, you can catch him reading like a KK Slider magazine.
Oh, really?
And it's just KK Slider and his guitar. And then when he calls like KK up on the phone to invite him to the island, it's just so endearing.
How do you trigger that?
You have to have a 3-star island.
Oh my God. Okay. And what is that? What is that based on?
You should have a lot of villagers. So I think I have 9 now, and it's more villager based than it is amenity based.
Okay, gotcha. And then what's the ideal arc over the next few Animal Crossing games for Tom Nook? Where could they take him in the future?
He's got to retire at some point. I mean, they already gave him a pretty good arc in the last couple games where they talked about how he left the village for the big city and came back kind of with his dreams crushed and started over from the beginning and worked hard in his community. And it's like he got a pretty good story arc if you went looking for it in other games. So I think he's just kind of getting old now, and I think he might just retire eventually, like Tormund.
Is this his retirement arc? Like, we're on an island. It's supposed to be relaxing, that's definitely one of the pitches of the game is you go to the island to relax and get away from it all. So maybe this is Tom Nook's way of making money off retirement.
Guess what lip balms are.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe like for the next one, he could retire or just be ousted by Timmy and Tommy to like take a majority share in the business. And then like he's next to you and he's like your rival in like a Pokemon game or something where he's also like starting from nothing, building up. Thanks, Sarah, for humoring me.
Sorry.
Also last time I remember I was like, God, there's got to be some other game that's comparable where like you're always playing a new character, but you're meeting recurring characters that you know. And somebody on YouTube nailed it. They said it's like Borderlands. That's like the best example of like, you know what I'm talking about, where you're always somebody new. Anyways, I appreciated that comment. Thank you. Tyler Sticka says, given this flurry of online activity because of the easier access to screenshots and video built in, I think it's a shame that Nintendo decided to gate design sharing behind the opening of the clothing shop. This will take many players weeks to unlock, which feels odd since you can import designs from New Leaf right away via the Switch Online app. Many players online seem to be using black magic to convert designs to New Leaf QR codes or even manually recreating designs pixel by pixel. Is this a sign Nintendo misjudged demands for this feature? Or do you think in a few weeks, as more players unlock the real sharing, we'll all feel silly for being so impatient?
I think in the beginning it was hard just in general because you didn't have a lot of clothes. And I'm finding it very difficult to build up my collection of clothes. And then you see people online like making, every single costume in existence, every Ghibli movie, every this, every that, and you can't download it and you can't even save it. So I do have like a browser open with 20 tabs of just clothes to download, like save.
We should make a Google Doc like best Animal Crossing designs.
But it is frustrating that I do feel like they underestimated the demand for clothing, and they also underestimated the demand for people wanting to craft fish bait.
I know. The fanfare on the clam every time is going
The fanfare on the clam. Yeah, Justin Chobanian says, for the love of God and all that is holy, let me be able to craft more than one fish bait at a time.
Yeah, I've
why can't
really
we
been
buy
missing
fish
bass
bait?
crafting.
I
Yeah,
asked that too. Why can't I buy fish bait?
Yeah.
I'm a
You
busy
can buy
woman.
medicine. It's, I don't know, it feels like kind of along the same lines.
Yeah. Josh Stevens says, this is without a doubt the best Animal Crossing game I've ever played, and honestly will probably go down as one of my favorite games of all time. Good God. He says, however, there are a few small issues I have with it. The biggest one is not being able to craft more than one thing at a time. I spent hours trying to catch the elusive stringfish yesterday, and it was a very not fun grind of digging up clams, turning them into bait one by one. I did finally catch that thing, though, and felt amazing. I'm new to the MinnMax thing, but thanks for all you do, especially Deepest Dives. They're my favorite things to listen to. Thank you so much. Okay, can you all let me in? What is this stringfish? Why is everybody obsessed with this stringfish?
it's leaving. You have to catch it today.
You only have one
today.
more day.
Literally today?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, okay, it's going to come back in several months. I don't know exactly when. but
maybe
it's
a year.
It's like the rarest fish in the game, and if you want to complete your museum in the shortest amount of time possible, today's the last day to catch it for a very long time.
Okay, so everybody listening and watching, you're out of luck, apparently.
You already missed it.
You completely missed
You
it.
already
Oh,
missed it.
sorry.
Has everybody caught
I
one?
think I crafted I think I used about 150 bait to get
Oh
mine.
my gosh.
Yeah,
It
I
was
literally
a
just
lot.
see, and I just walked up. I was like, better catch this stringfish, and it was like the third fish I pulled up. I didn't use any bait, and I was like, oh, easy.
Yeah, I scared the smaller fish spawn and would only fish from the larger spawns and caught it on my second try.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Yeah, but I've been seeing people do kind of like hacksy stuff, so I've been messing around with it. Like if you clear all the fish from like the two higher elevations, then like you have a higher chance of catching a sturgeon at the mouth of the river, or like it forces a spawn in that spot. It's like very I don't know, but
That's absurd.
I don't. Yeah,
I love like the level of, it feels like I'm back in middle school or something and talking about like Pika Blue being in Pokemon Red and Blue. Like it just feels like with this weird game where everything's being trickled out slowly, everybody is just building up different theories and rumors about how things work. I never know what to believe. I don't know like what are the go-to tips or like the obvious things versus just hearsay.
Yeah. Well, and I think something that's really interesting and unique about Animal Crossing, that the not knowing is a really special experience. Because for things like Pokemon, new Pokemon Sword and Shield comes out, but we still know the rate of catching a shiny. We know all the ways to breed for shinies. We know the rates, the numbers, everything, like, because the work's been done to do that. But for this, it's like, okay, we don't know all these small, intricate details of the game. And so a lot of it is just like anecdotal evidence, kind of gossip swirling around.
Yeah. Like, for example, I think I was bugging you on Twitter, Sarah, about it, just like trying to figure out the trees. It seems like such a basic thing, and I couldn't find a good answer easily. Maybe I didn't dig enough about just like, why are all my trees not growing? Should I dig them up? Are they screwed? I don't know what's going on. Because it's like, I know they have to be a space apart. I'm doing it, but it turns out they can just be fully grown spaces, like one space apart. Yeah, but then you actually have to space
Move
them out
them.
further while they
I grew
grow
some
up.
just one space apart.
Yeah, so it's
like
weird.
with one in between, right?
Yep, yep.
Tree, no tree.
That's what I did, yes, for like a whole swath, and then it'd be like some on the perimeter were growing, but then there'd be like a splash in the middle. It feels pretty random.
Weird.
I don't know exactly. Maybe if it's like fully boxed in, then it won't grow. I couldn't quite figure it out. And then Sarah, you blew my mind with what was the tip again?
It's that you can just use fruit power to lift up any tree. So what I do is I go on Mystery Island tours. I steal all those trees, and I'm like, well, this is better because you don't have to wait for it to grow.
Yeah.
And you can put it
Shove the whole
wherever.
tree in your pocket.
I literally leave with like pockets full of trees. I'm like,
It's absurd. So is it naive to want to build just like the world's biggest orchard for this stuff? Because at some point, like financially, it's not going to be that viable.
I think orchards are cute. I'm building one. I have a little farming silo next to it, and like a little, garden materials. So I think, orchards are just cute to have too, because I feel like I don't like when fruit trees are scattered everywhere. I find it like it's not my aesthetic. Like, please keep your fruit trees, in a line somewhere, please.
Right. Yeah, I have a weird thing too where like I'm now thinking I don't like not knowing what's a fruit tree, and I don't like it when they're scattered for like when they're ripe. So I think now I'm just gonna like wait it out and wait for everything to be ripe, just so I can get everything on the same rhythm. It's a very weird specific thing. Your bird is very cute, Kelsey.
Oh, thank you.
Also, in terms of
Kind of a jerk.
but like in terms of like basic tips, this is so stupid. But Margaret from Game Informer, she also was like, "Oh, well, if you just have a bunch of your native fruit on your island, just load up your pockets and then go sell it on somebody else's island." It's like,
Yeah.
I had never considered that stupid, easy flip of the entire system here. Nick DeFeo says, "Hey, that leaf bug really surprised me. I thought it must be a random item on the ground, maybe one I dropped, and boom, it's a bug. Must catch it. Also, the Kool-Aid at the Froggy Cult is delicious. So congratulations."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How's the Froggy Cult going?
It's going good. We're just, increasing in member size. We hold our rituals daily,
Okay.
summoning our Lord.
Great. That sounds great. Let's see. Sean Mills says, "I usually don't like games where equipment breaks, but I think Animal Crossing handles it really well. It's so easy to craft a new item when one breaks, and there are always plenty of resources to make basic tools. Even when traveling to other islands, you have multiple ways to get new equipment, and you never feel let down by something breaking." However,
Wow, that's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that.
yeah, he's drinking the Kool-Aid. He's going for it. I mean,
Drink too much Kool-Aid.
it's frustrating. It's like I even saw a lot of people just begging, like, let the golden tools at least be permanent. Like once you get to that level, but that's absurd that even those break.
That is actually absurd. I agree. I feel like there's not a point to them if like why bother trying to get the gold tools if they're still gonna break.
Yeah, and you unlock those by having 100 items break. Is that right?
It's different for each tool,
Okay,
from what I've heard.
gotcha.
In the rumor mill.
Yeah, God, you're really plugged in and cool.
I am.
Does everybody keep like a flimsy axe on them so they can get more wood out of the trees without knocking it down? Is that a basic strategy?
Well, there's the stone axe doesn't cut down the tree as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just go for one of those. But if I'm trying to get to that number so I can unlock the golden tools, shouldn't I have the weakest axe to always use?
Yeah.
Okay,
You also get Nook Miles for breaking enough tools, so
it's not so bad.
yeah, just keep using the flimsy ones.
What is the benefit of Nook Miles at this point? I think it was really exciting for like the first week. And Sarah, I'm curious, like if you're
someone clearly didn't open their resident services or enter it.
Oh no. What's
But
going on?
when you go to the ATM machine or the ABD machine, you can now buy special amenities for your island using your Nook Miles. So like Godzilla, the Gundam are all worth 5,000 Nook Miles. So you can buy a recipe or you can buy an item, and that's how you decorate your islands beyond furniture. So like bigger stuff.
Oh,
Like I have a
interesting.
bunch of lamp posts or streetlights or whatever in mine. And you were talking about like your farm silo. That's one of them.
Yeah.
So it's like
you get a pool,
big.
pond. Yeah.
Yeah, big items like that.
Yeah. Okay. So you think like for the long term, you're all going to be motivated by Nook Miles then still?
Yeah, I'm basically broke
I think
now.
so.
I'm so sad.
I'm so sorry. I finally got on the big travel thing. I swear to God, it was like 7 islands before I got one that wasn't cherries. Like I really thought, like I think everyone's lying to me. I think I'm just stuck with my native fruit. But finally, one had apples on it. It's like, okay, finally a little bit of variation here.
And then a tip for mystery islands: each one that has like shakeable trees has furniture in the trees. So I've seen a lot of people like forget about it. But if you land on a mystery island and there's like I guess they call them hardwood trees. So not fruit trees, not bamboo. On that island, one of those trees will contain wasps and one will contain a piece of furniture.
Oh, interesting. There we
So
go.
don't miss out on that.
Okay. Jordan Brown says, this has to be one of the most wholesome games I've ever played. I've played for about a week, and it's hard to just not have a huge smile on your face the whole time you're playing. One complaint I do have is the very limited amount of mystery islands you can travel to. I've been on about 6 or 7 different trips, and I've gotten the same island 4 of those times. How do you feel about the mystery islands in general?
I still haven't seen them all. I've been a little bummed over repeats. I've gone the trash island like 3 times.
Oh, really? That sounds exotic and fun.
Like everything you fish out is trash. Got there so excited to catch something new. Nope, not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't hit like the big Bucks Island, like the Bells Island. I haven't hit Tarantula Island. I only hit
Me
one
neither.
hybrid. I did hit a hybrid island, but it was my hometown flower hybrid island. So I was like, well, I'll take what I can get. But
Right.
my expectations
hoping-
were higher.
I've hit a Bellrock Island and a Hybrid Island, and those are really the only two like special ones I've had. Otherwise, it's all been like pretty boring islands.
Yeah. I hope they do some cool events with the islands. I'm sure, maybe they'll cycle them out, or we'll get some more variety and we'll see some changes there for the future. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
In the southern hemisphere, they have Shark Islands that we'll get once it turns to summer, in theory. So there's like some level of flipping, I think, that'll happen. And I assume that eventually the Tarantula Islands will become Scorpion Islands, as like when you get to Scorpion time of year, which I forget when that is, but
yeah, when is it? Justin Max says, great work, everyone. Thank you. The thing that has surprised me the most is the level of customization. This game is making me care more about placemats on my kitchen table. I don't even know if my wife and I own placemats in our home, but I sure as heck designed my own in Animal Crossing. Yeah, that's that weird thing of like, on Saturday, I think I played for like 6 hours straight, which maybe is chump change for you experts. But then I was like, what did I get by the end of this? I guess I got finally some flooring that I enjoy. Like, it's just so weird when you really think back and like, what am I doing with all this time?
I'm making my island beautiful.
Okay. All right. So
that's
it works
what I'm
out.
doing. I mean, when I look at my island, like I can see the growth, like I can see what I've accomplished. And it feels like there's a sense of pride when you walk through your island and you're like, and I built that and I put that there. And like, I have a plan over here for something. So it's just kind of more of a long-term plan.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think like we were talking about earlier with everyone having their own sort of personality in their island, it is a way to express yourself as well. And I think that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Adam Quain says, hey, this is my first Animal Crossing game and maybe the first game in a while I can truly call a water cooler game. I'm currently charged with crafting some items for 3 random homes that are about to be filled, and the loop feels nice. It might sound sad and maybe even a little creepy, but I cannot wait to decorate a Christmas tree on this thing. Hey, it's nice to have those long-term goals. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Newman.
I wonder what you can do with the Christmas trees. That'll be fun.
Oh, that's right, because they drop ornaments. Ooh, I'm excited.
They drop ornaments?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you shake a tree that has lights on it, it'll drop an ornament, and then that's a crafting item.
Oh, nice.
So cute.
Michael Newman says, I haven't necessarily soured on the game at all, but I did want to mention a major gripe I have. Why the heck can't furniture be turned 45 degrees? So some items like bamboo, noodle slide, monster statue, champion, pennant, to name a few, are angled items and have to be displayed at a 45-degree angle, but their turn radius is still 90 degrees. This means I can't have these things sitting straight on, but alternatively, I can't set anything down at angles within their given item grid. I would love the ability to kitty corner things in my room. I just don't understand why we're being confined to 4 directions like a bunch of Neanderthals.
Mm-hmm. we need to just baby step this, okay? Like, this is an Animal Crossing game, right? And you used to not be able to do like the room top down. You used to not be able to put things on walls. So like we baby step in here. Okay, give it another 7 years, and maybe you'll get to turn your furniture at a 45-degree angle. But we are not there now.
Yeah, it's funny because like all I see is like crazy amounts of improvement in the in the customization and in the furniture stuff. So like that doesn't even occur to me because I'm like, oh my god, it's come so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the customization thing. Was that in New Leaf? Like being able to like change the colors and stuff on certain items?
Some of it. Yeah.
Okay.
It was not quite as fleshed out, and you couldn't do it to as many items. But yeah, it was pretty new to it was new to New Leaf. So.
Gotcha. Bill Faulkner says, I just have one request. I'm looking for some juicy late game tips to making my island feel more like my own unique town. I'm not super creative at this, so what would you say to help me reach new horizons with the look and feel of my hometown?
I think custom patterns is the way to go because you can lay them down on the ground. You can put them up on like little easels and stuff. So you can really, that's where you can go really wild is find whatever else you're into that you want to use to express yourself. Like maybe you like basketball and you want to make a basketball court on the ground or something, or I don't know, just that's kind of, that's where I go is all the custom patterns.
Yeah. Do you all mark different trees with patterns on the ground?
It's smart, but I just haven't, I'm like, for some reason my laziness starts there. Is like marking trees. Like, I'm sorry, but I will path an entire town, but like marking individual trees is where I draw the line.
Let's see. Miguel Medjai says, have you upgraded to different rooms yet? If so, have you made anything unique with specific themes, like space themes, pirate themes, etc., or made it to a home where we have a bathroom, living room, and bedroom?
So I used to, in all my other Animal Crossing games, I used to follow like the living room, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom pattern. But I think in this Animal Crossing game, I'm really trying to like step outside that mentality just because there's so many good options. So I have my first room. So I have the living room, and then behind it, I'm building like a plant room. So I'm building like a greenhouse.
That's
so
cool.
I'm really trying to like push myself outside of like kitchen, bathroom, bedroom. Like what else can I do? Especially with the animated wallpaper and the animated floors. I feel like we have so many more like because before in the Animal Crossing game, you could have like the outdoor wallpaper, the outdoor carpet, and the kiddie pool in the middle, but it's still going to look weird, and it's not like you're not selling it very well. But I think with animated wallpapers, we have a lot more options.
Yeah, and actually with that greenhouse, then you could go to Kelsey's and steal her cool like raining wallpaper.
The thunder.
Ooh, that would be very nice. That's a very good look, Kelsey.
Yeah, you guys made fun of my house because it's basically just thunder and lightning and then turnips all over the floor.
I think you can bury turnips, right? Like you can bury them. You could.
Oh, yeah, but I have best friends that maybe I don't trust.
That's your problem.
I made my orchard so I could close the fence in front of it if I wanted to keep people out.
That's a good idea.
My entire orchard is fenced.
That's awesome. I've seen people do the fences around their turnips outside, so maybe I'll do that. But I also don't have like hardly any of the furniture I want yet for my house, so I'm like, oh, for this week it's fine. You know?
Yeah. So why not just put turnips all over the ground? Why be so specific as to fence them in?
Pick them up.
Steal them.
Yeah, you could just take them.
So we could have stolen all of Kelsey's turnips?
No,
No, not if they're inside.
Ah, that's the catch. Okay.
If they're outside, you can steal them.
Gotcha. Anthony says, quarantine, day 14. Buying turnips seems like a low-risk, fun way to have some more fun in a great game I'm loving. Quarantine, day 15. Why? Why did I buy turnips? The horror, the horror. I guess it ain't cut out for everybody. I guess it did not go well. How's everybody's...
Just gotta be active on, probably even just the MinnMax Discord.
Yeah.
Because there's enough people sharing their turnip prices all the time that you're like guaranteed to make a profit as long as you are participating in an active turnip community.
Yeah. Well, and there are good tools online. Like Natalie Watson, a games journalist, made a tracker and spreadsheet for the stock market and for turnip prices. So you just like enter your turnip prices and it helps you make a plan for buying and selling.
That's so absurd. I was frantic where I forgot that she left at like noon. And so it was Sunday and I was comparing prices, just kind of, I'll get to it when I get to it, whatever. And then realized like, oh my God, I need my friend Amy to open up her gates because we have like 10 minutes left and she didn't get to it in time. And I was kicking myself. And then Kelsey, you're like, oh, I'm on West Coast time. And my turnip prices are what, like 95 or something like that? I'm like, great, that'll do.
And I had my gate open till like 11:50, and then I fell asleep and my Switch went into sleep mode. So
it was brutal because I was like, okay, there's very little time, but like I can rush over there and still get it. And so I go, and I hadn't been to her island yet, and so I was like, okay, I'm ready to travel. Gates are open, and there's a town there. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this town is. It must be Kelsey. So went to that island, and then just my friend Ronnie was on that island. We're like, well, he doesn't know Kelsey. I don't understand why he's here. Then I realized I had accidentally gone to my ex-girlfriend's island, who I haven't talked to in a very long time. And it was just this bizarre moment of like, well, I'll leave you some bales on the ground. Bye. Nice seeing you. Like, it was a very bizarre thing, and I blame you, Kelsey, for falling asleep.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But that's really funny.
That's fun.
At least you're not like named Ben in your, like maybe she had no idea it was you.
She eventually figured it out because she was like, who is this? And she asked Ronnie because she's like, Ben, is that you? I was like, yeah, sir. Hey, the stock market thing. Sarah, being an expert on localization, do you know what it's called in Japanese?
Kabushiki? Is it kabushiki? Is that what it is?
It's
I'll have to look it up because I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, and then actually I don't know what her name is in this game, but the turnip seller from the other games, her name is Kaburiba, which Kabu means turnip and what else? It means like turnip and store or something like that. It's some play on words that basically the seller's name is like turnip store.
Okay. So is the stock market also a pun in Japanese then?
It is.
Okay.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
But
I need to know now.
Yeah.
I had this in my head a while ago, and now it's gone. So
Yeah.
That's totally fair. The hey, this is a pretty broad question, but Sarah, can you just explain Japanese and puns? Why they love puns more than the average language?
I think it just has to do with how the Japanese language works. There's not a lot of sounds in the Japanese language. It's a lot of wordplay. Not a lot of sounds in the Japanese language compared to like every other language. So a lot of words sound similar or have very similar like kanji in them. So you can do a lot of playfulness with that when you have such limited sounds. I think there's like, God, I want to say there's like 35 sounds, but that could be wrong. And it just makes it really easy to do wordplay when your words are all like one letter away from each other.
So weird. And that's just unique. And I gotta wonder, like, what does Japanese rap sound like? If there's like, is it rhyming easier in Japanese? I think it must be, right?
Miming?
Rhyming.
I mean, I was like, that doesn't have anything to do with words, but I mean, there is a type of
only universal language.
Yeah, there's a type of comedy called like rakugo. I don't know if you know rakugo, but it's like it's comedy and it's done in a very steady pacing. So it all kind of sounds like this, and you tell a funny story, but it sounds better in Japanese because Japanese is, it's a different language from English. But yeah, that's based on that too.
Yeah. I don't mean to tell tales out of school, but I think at one point I was talking to you about Japanese and localization stuff, and you're like, not to paint too broad of a brush here, but it seems like Japanese is just a little bit flatter of a language than English. And so in localization, you have to spice it up. You don't need to monologue for 30 minutes, but can you explain what you mean by that overall? I think it's fascinating.
I guess not that it's like flatter, but generally you can say a lot more with a lot less with Japanese. They drop a lot of like we have it and the all that, and you can just drop that. You don't need it. And also, by the way they do accents is just kind of in pronunciation, or the way they convey a character is in pronunciation too. So that changes it a lot as well, versus in English where you might have to call out very specific things. So like if a cat's talking, you can just add every other word in like nya, and then in English you might have to like make jokes about like milk, or like you might have to, it's different. It's like a difficult, it's not like a one-to-one thing. Right.
So it's just a lot more room for interpretation with all these localizations. Gotcha. Do you still want to do localization in the future? Because you're not doing it now for your job, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not doing it now, but I think localization will always be like my nerdy passion. It's really fun to see like different interpretations for how people like things localized. And it's just a lot of fun. It's like putting together a puzzle, but backwards.
Yeah, for sure. Chris Logan says, more than any other Animal Crossing entry, this iteration has really tried to gamify your experiences. While overall I'm enjoying the changes, I'm still a little torn on how that's changed the Animal Crossing experience. The first few days in particular feel especially task-driven, and while yes, you're under no pressure or of a clock to complete it, so much of the game is locked behind these tasks that it's basically the only thing for you to do. Plus, with the whole world playing at the same time, you don't want to be the last one to get Nook's Cranny or the museum in your town. Thank you, Chris. Although I imagine we'll get there eventually, I've yet to reach that laid-back, easygoing Animal Crossing, leisurely living feeling that makes this game so unique. I suspect some players who found previous entries too shallow will be more invested this go-around and will be enjoying the changes. It'll be interesting to see if and when the game hits its trademark chill vibe. Do you think that's fair?
I agree with that completely. I think that there's a lot more like, I think it's best described more as like other Animal Crossing games made you feel really, really comfortable with only playing for 15 minutes. And I don't feel comfortable playing for only 15 minutes in this one because there's always like another little checkbox to do, especially with the Nook Miles or with your tools breaking or something. It feels like there's just more that you have to cross off your list, and so you get less of that like I'm cool, I'll just check in real quick and then leave.
Yeah,
I sort of feel like the chill vibe has kind of died with New Leaf in a way, because New Leaf gave you so much to do and it gave you so much power that it's sort of like sometimes it felt like, well, what excuse do I have not to do, like, it's basically chores. Like, you gotta complete public works projects, you gotta put your paths down, and you gotta make sure your flowers look nice. So it's definitely I I think with people being like, everyone being like, oh, but like, you know, is Animal Crossing even a real game? Nintendo's like, boom, it is now. What are you going to do about it? Like,
Yeah. Well, and I think it also speaks to like the current time that the game is being released. Like it's a time when people are ready to really hunker down and just spend, you know, like smash 4 hours with it. I think, you know, like before it was much, you know, like since no one was stuck inside, 20 minutes on a game, that's fine, you know, but now it's like, well, what am I going to do? Might as well keep playing.
Yeah, there's kind of an overall trend in a lot of the comments of people just saying like, I wish this was faster. I can't believe this is taking so long. What's going on with this? Why don't they give me this building? And it's like, in general, I'm erring on the other side of that. Like, we're going to be playing this game for years. Like, I hope that there is more stuff that slowly trickle out. Obviously, updates would be great too, but like, it's fun to not have everything right now. We got to savor this time, right? Where we want something for Animal Crossing.
And I think too, like for me, like with my own personal habits, it's like hard to pace yourself with games. It's really fun to binge play games, binge watch shows on Netflix. This is like the equivalent of HBO releasing an episode every week.
Yes.
But for video games.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Absolutely. Speaking of wanting things, hey, Andrew Burns says, first of all, I want to say last week's Deepest Dive was fantastic. The cast really knows their stuff, and it makes for a wonderful listening experience. This is where it gets absurd. Andrew says, I've watched it 2.5 times already, often while I play on my own island. That's very sweet. Thank you. Cool it, Andrew, but thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
No, he says, my big question so far is, where the hell is the roost? Hanging out in there with that glorious piano theme and bothering Brewster every day until he's forced to open up to me and be my friend was my favorite thing in Wild World, and I was dismayed to discover it wasn't included with the museum when I opened it up. Even after opening the store, there's no sign of it. It's in this thing somewhere, right?
I hope so.
Crawling out of the rumor mill. The rumor mill says that somebody like data mined the game and they found it. So it'll be in there one day. But when we don't know.
At some point.
Crawling out from the floorboards like, the roost is coming.
Who are these people that you're hanging out with? Is this the dark web?
Yeah, I think a lot of this has to do with like streaming. So the streaming community is pretty close for Animal Crossing.
Okay.
And I just have people pop in my chat and they'll be like, hey, did you hear this? And I'm like, or I'll be like, oh, I wish the roost was here. And someone will be like, I heard. And then it's just like, it just spreads. So like, I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, I'm sure the roost will be back because it was such a beloved, like it has to be, right? But
they'll get to it.
As of when, we don't know.
Right. Chris Logan says, I know we talked about the museum on the last episode, but it really can't be praised enough as far as I'm concerned. Specifically, I'd like to highlight a feature found in the fossil exhibit. There are several areas on the ground marked by a blue circle. Standing in these places shifts the camera to give you a glorious view of the exhibit and tell the story of dino extinction. Standing on the blue dot near the meteor model even causes it to pulsate. The museum upgrade is a really great analogy for the entry in the series as a whole. The museum has always been a treat and featured minor improvements each game. But this go around, they went above and beyond what fans even asked for, and it's just mwah. Matthew Walsh says, I've spent most of my time on the island of Dr. Moreau accumulating creatures for Blathers. While in the museum, I noticed that the exhibits follow their natural activity cycles. Nocturnal creatures are active at night, and diurnal creatures are active during the day. Such a cool little feature. I'm sure it's in previous entries, but this is my first one. That is cool. You're right. Also, Tim Laro says, if you donate amber to the museum, the Blathers will make a clear Jurassic Park reference. That's nice. Beto Quinones says, hey, you Animal Crossers. First off, I've really been loving the game. I've clocked in 65 hours already. My question is, have you tried the Nook Miles Cast Master Challenge? You have to get 100 fish in a row without losing one. It took me 3 tries. The first ended at 68 due to someone finding... Yeah. The first ended at 68 due to someone leaving my island abruptly, and the second at 94 because of a sneeze. Oh my God.
No!
Heartbreaking.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Don't do it.
Definitely, yeah. There's people who are in it for like the Nook Miles and like trying to complete the tough stuff. And then there's me like perfectly placing piles of leaves on the ground for my like island aesthetic. So there's 2 kinds of players. I find that way too stressful. I'd like to not think about it.
Yeah.
It just seems,
I've already just decided
impossible.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, same.
And
I
it's
just
fun.
mark that off.
Totally. You got that goal then, a year from now, and you need to spice up Animal Crossing a little bit. Just go for that super brutal challenge.
Yeah.
Christian King says, my major complaint with the game is the lack of camera control while exploring the island. I don't understand why you get it inside your house, but not where it'd be most useful running around on the island. With as many trees as I've grown, it gets really hard to see where resources are on the ground.
Yeah.
I think that's just Animal Crossing. That's just
Yeah.
how it's always been. We're not there yet. Whatever is beyond that ocean horizon, like you don't want to see it. The game doesn't want you to see it. Don't look at it.
Wouldn't it be nice just to have a little outline there, like so many other games do? Is it that tough? I don't understand it.
Yes, it's impossible. Baby steps.
Oh, baby steps, right.
Seven,
All right.
7 more years,
funny,
okay?
We've all been playing this for so long that we're so conditioned to just be like, well, that's just how it is. And
Yeah.
I mean, some of these are very valid suggestions, and I'm like, yeah, I guess that would be nice. I don't know, I just accept that.
Yeah.
How this game is.
Just because it doesn't fit alongside many other games. Like I said in the last one, it's a mood, right? But
We're
like
on island time. The game makes us play it its way. We don't get to decide how we play the game.
that's true. Like in terms of camera controls, like I just found out this last week though that like okay, if you hit up on the right stick or down on the right stick, like you can adjust it a little bit,
Yeah.
not permanently for the close up, which is weird. I wish I had that instead of just like the aerial view option. But Josh Carmel says after opening up resident services, you can finally unlock the hourly themes. After hearing them, they're great. I've been so excited to hear New Horizons soundtrack, and I'm not surprised to see it's as boppin' as ever. What is surprising, though, is how boppin' it is. The new 5 p.m. theme is so funky, it sounds like it was pulled straight out of Persona 5.
Yes, 5 p.m. funky
5
time.
p.m. is the best. Oh my gosh, I love this soundtrack so much because I found the new Leaf soundtrack really boring and disappointing. I'm a big Kazumi Totaka fan, and I feel like he hasn't been making his own music. He's a jazz musician in real life. Like, he has a jazz band he plays in. And so, like, that there wasn't jazzy tracks in the last one was really sad to me, and now they're all, like, jazzy and funky again, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
I was very much missing the energy of the old 2 a.m. theme from the first game. Like, I was like, bring me back. Bring me back.
The new 2 a.m. I think is, it's either 3 a.m.? There's one that sounds like, it's not the same, but it's that same kind of like, this is a weird song because why are you running around the village this late?
Trying to like, weird you out.
Catch
get you
me
to go
eyes
sleep.
bloodshot staying up just to listen to this.
I was concerned when we like landed on the island, and I was like, why is there a man with an acoustic guitar following me around? Like, I was getting concerned that that's what I was stuck with when I first started playing. I was like, are we acoustic guitar forever?
Right.
But then once you open resident services, you get like, oh, a man with a piano has joined my acoustic guitar. And a bassist is also here.
I was mad that they put that behind, like, I get unlocking all the other things, but I feel insulted that they made us unlock the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's not cool. I want to be able to
Yeah.
just have different music throughout the day. Is that so much to ask? Why do I have to unlock that?
Instead, there's just a man with an acoustic guitar waiting for you to like leave your house, and then he opens it, and then he starts like.
Well, and I was confused because the title theme is just beautiful. The trumpet is incredible. Like, one of my favorites, such a standout.
Yeah.
And then just hearing one song all day, I was like, what? How?
This isn't right. Chris K says, I'm a real music nerd, so please bear with me. When Isabel shows up and you're able to change your island tune, the template you're given to work with contains 4 measures, and the notes available to you have no sharps or flats, so your song has to be in either C major or A minor, and all your notes cannot be any faster than a quarter note. With that knowledge, I took out my guitar and tried to figure out what songs I know using that criteria. I ended up going with the first 4 measures of the main melody of the world-famous tango song Libertango by Astor Piazzolla. Do any of you choose an already existing song for your island tune? And if so, what did you choose?
Yes, Smash Mouth. Rockstar.
Nice. Did you look it up online?
Yeah. I've been keeping tabs of all my favorite songs that I've seen, and then I picked one.
Oh, nice. That's smart.
Yeah.
What'd you go with, Sarah?
I have the Wii eShop theme. The
Oh, that's good.
That's
is
really
mine.
smart. Because I
But I found that on the internet. I'm not talented enough to make it.
I saw that one in like a big list I was looking at today, and I was like, oh, it's exactly what I want. And then I put it in, and it wasn't quite right. So the list must have been wrong, or maybe there's some other Wii music that I'm not as familiar with.
Or it could have been for a different Animal Crossing game too. The way they sound and the way you can create music in each game is different.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
like it's not like 1-to-1 New Leaf to New Horizons.
Right. Kelsey, what'd you go with?
I still haven't changed mine because I haven't figured out what I want to do yet. My favorite that I've heard so far, though, is a friend of mine has the Jurassic Park theme, which is pretty good.
That's really nice. Jason Kelly has the Final Fantasy Victory fanfare, and he says it's fun to hear what it sounds like on a kazoo pitched down 3 octaves. Yeah, that's cool. I was Googling around today trying to find something good, and it's so lame. But I do like the song. But I just ended up going with like Kylo's theme from Star Wars, which is, it just sounds bizarre. Like, wah, 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 and like every time anybody is talking, it's very stupid. BeatenDownBrian says, so articles have started popping up online about star fragments and the star wand. As far as I know, I haven't had any opportunity to wish on shooting stars yet. To make it more confusing, Celeste showed up and gave me the recipe, but still nothing. I was staring at the night sky for at least an hour, with a podcast, but still. Do you all know how this works? Some people say it's a glitch, some say it's random, some say it's solely based on the morning announcement of a meteor shower. How does it work?
So if Celeste is there, you should be able to wish on stars. You do need to have no tools in your hand, and the shooting stars will follow each other pretty rapidly. Like you'll get like 3 or 4 in a row. So my strategy was just like have it next to me with the volume up while I'm folding laundry or whatever, and every time I heard something, just run over and press A, and then press A a few more times because there'll be more shooting stars. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that none showed up because that would be crazy. They're supposed to show up if Celeste is there.
I had none show up when Celeste showed up.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. I've
The morning
funny.
after?
No, I didn't have any, and it was funny because when the game first came out, both my friends had meteor showers when I visited them, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool, very cool, very cool." And then I found out that it was for star fragments, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, and I haven't seen one since. We are on a drought of meteor showers here,
Yeah,
so I think they're super rare.
You can do it in other people's towns at least, though.
Yeah. And I know someone who had 3. Well, she had 3 meteor showers in a row, like every night. So I don't know what.
I haven't even had one.
What
Yeah.
what do you
And
get
I
for
play.
it? What do you get for star fragments?
You can craft stuff with
Okay.
them. Like the main thing you get is you get a star wand, which can like store a bunch of your outfits, like just ready to go, pre-made, so you don't have to worry about carrying around clothes and stuff. You can just have this wand with, I think it's 8 different outfits in it, or 6 or something like that. But yeah, the one tip I'll give you if you have a meteor shower or if you go to a friend's town with a meteor shower is you need to wish on like way more stars than you think you do to get enough fragments. Mm-hmm. I think I did like 150 to get like 20 or 25 star fragments. So
That makes sense, yeah.
Oh my god.
so if you just do like 1 or 2 and you're like, all right, I wished on some stars, like you might get 1 star fragment.
Yeah. I did like 15 to 20 and got like 5.
That's pretty good.
I wonder if if having visitors helps too. I had a visitor there also wishing on stars for me.
They get the star fragments in their own town if they come over.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
they'll get it on their own beach the next day.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's so cute.
Mick Manga says, I'm sorry, Manga? Sarah? Manga?
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mick Manga says, hey, it's a simple thing, but I find it really interesting that all the different containers they have added for fish and bugs, especially when compared to the small amount of different containers for the previous Animal Crossing games. Yeah. Look, this Game Club's a good time to get specific. Yes, the different containers for fish and bugs, they are cool, Mick.
Have you guys seen the sunfish in his container? It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. He's just floating horizontally in a box, like on his side, and you can just see his one eye staring up at you. It's like, oh my god!
Free him. Mason Cowell
The
says,
best one is the fly, because it's just like a piece of paper with a cup over it. Oh my god!
that's awesome. Mason Cowell says,
I like the
no, go ahead, please.
No, we're
the
talking about
football
this.
fish that you can turn
Yes.
it on and off.
It's very cute. Mason Cowell says, this is hyper specific, but I realized today that if you eat a fruit, the animation implies that your character is reaching up into your menu and pulling out a fruit. And I love that. That is very
I
good.
didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I also love like the fence building animation. Just every little bit of animation in this game is so fun and perfect. Okay, also getting specific here. Michael Newman, how is it that there isn't a text wrap when typing messages on bulletin board / sending letters? It seems like a complete oversight.
Also goes back to the first game. We're all just
Yeah.
I just abuse the like return button and like manually do it myself. But yeah, that it really should.
Yeah, I
insane.
think that just has to do from carrying it over from Japanese. because the Japanese text wrapping isn't a thing. It like doesn't matter.
Oh,
as
interesting.
Much. It's not
yeah.
as serious. So, and then when you put it in English, you're like, why does my word cut off in the middle? So.
And impossible to fix. Everybody knows. Eric Reed says, hey, the plane that takes you to Nook Ticket Island seem to be colored based on your airport, which differs from person to person.
Oh.
That's very good. Look at that. You learned something.
I didn't know. Is that why mine are blue? Like
That could be.
Mine's green.
Ooh.
Awesome. Eric says, I also discovered a Nook Ticket badge for losing a floating present. I wasn't paying attention and it popped over a river. Makes me curious what some of the other hidden badges might be in the future.
Getting murdered by wasps is one I learned. So if you get stung twice without using medicine, you pass out. And you do get a little commissary Nook miles for that.
That's nice. Also, I had an epiphany of realizing that, like, you can just hit down on the right stick and it'll bring you right to that Nook Miles that's actually popped. You don't have to scroll through every single time, which is very nice. Holden Hint says, the best little thing I've noticed is the ability to send items you've previously purchased through the kiosk to your friends. I visited my friend's island and left a bulletin claiming he owed me 50,000 bells, and ever since I've been sending gifts to him that doubles as a threat to pay back his debt, like a skeleton of the last guy who didn't repay his debt. Have y'all sent any good gifts to anyone?
I got a good gift. I got a really funny one yesterday. I got this weird letter and it just said like, this is worth more than gold. And I was like, what is it? And I pulled out a medical mask. And I got like a really good laugh out of that.
That's great.
I keep getting really good ones. People keep sending me donations to the Video Game History Foundation. They just keep sending me magazines. I love it so much.
Are you keeping them all?
That's so cute.
Yeah, because I've been using the like pattern maker you can customize the magazines. So I have 2 issues of Game Informer that I've made, and I made an EGM, and what else did I make? A Swap Pro. So I have like some just magazine covers that are like 1-to-1 of actual magazines.
That's awesome.
Great.
Which Game Informers?
Number 1 and number 9, which is the Bubsy cover.
Of course. Is that just because while you were at Game Informer you spent so much time with Bubsy? Is like the first things you're starting to really unpack?
It's like just the thing in the Video Game History Foundation Discord. We have the Bubsy litter box, which is like our shitpost central. So
perfect. What do you all think for terraforming? What do you think?
I'm scared.
Really? Why is that?
Scared, yeah.
I'm not prepared to spend all the money moving stuff too. I'm saving already.
It's like for your children's college fund.
My home loan's taking a backseat to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was shocked even at the price of like a bridge. I was like, well, surely it
Yeah,
can't be that
don't
much.
even get me started on this bridge economy because like, what? This is just scalping.
Yeah, it's like a decent looking bridge. It's like 230,000 bells. What the hell? My
like
house
more
costs.
than your house costs.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
I'm getting the Zen bridges because they look the nicest and they're the most expensive. So it's not fair.
It is absolutely not fair.
What you do is you invite friends over and then you like guilt them into donating. You're like, a donation to my bridge would be really cool.
I should do that.
I got just
Go
from
fund
hanging
me.
out with friends and stuff all day. Like I think about 60,000 donated to one of my bridges. Which is pretty
Really?
good.
Wow, hey, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Yeah, I saw like somebody time traveling and they're crazy terraforming land, and it's going to be bonkers. Like all these clips that are going to be coming out months and months from now, they're going to be mind blowing. Overall, takeaways on Animal Crossing New Horizons: enough of a reinvention, too much of a reinvention. Where are you at, Kelsey?
I'm somewhere in between, I think, because I think that there's a lot of things that this game does that are really interesting that are pretty big departures from other games. And I don't want to, I could talk about this for a really long time, so I'll try to keep it short. But, the idea of you building out the community rather than moving into a community is, a really major shift in tone that I think not everyone's necessarily picking up on, because I think a lot of people play it just as, a let me decorate and have cute animal friends thing, and maybe don't interact with the community part of it as much. But I think it's interesting. It's not I'm enjoying the way that you build up the community, but I also kind of miss the idea that I'm not God, And in this game, you're kind of God. You can just kind of do whatever you want, and you're in charge. And if you're like, I don't like this villager, I don't like where they're moving, I don't, you can just change all of that. Like, it's locked behind bells or whatever, but you can just change anything you want in this game. And it's both like interesting creatively and also kind of like, well, now this place doesn't feel as like real. It feels like it's just kind of my dollhouse to play with.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and I wonder, like, just so we don't have to wait 7 years for the next iteration, I wonder if there's something they can do with, like, DLC of, like, having you moved into or, like, go visit an island that's fully fleshed out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll feel more like that, already existing community thing when you go visit other people's things online. But I don't know. It's just it's a shift in tone. But that doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah. Do you think? Makes sense. Yeah. Does it crack your top 2 Animal Crossing games? Has it shifted at all since last week?
I think it's still too early to say.
Yeah. Is everybody in that camp?
Yeah, I think for me, it's too early to tell, but what I'm keeping an eye on is how those relationships with the villagers play out over time. Because that's kind of, for me personally, what's most important to playing. And again, is that like community element. So will the games find ways of building out that part of the experience more as we go on? Yeah,
definitely. Sarah, takeaways, conclusions on Animal Crossing New Horizons?
Definitely we took that 7 years and we took some baby steps in the right direction. Obviously, there's still a few quality of life things with, you can only craft one thing. You can't put items on an angle, stuff that like you'd think would be kind of obvious. And things like terraforming just absolutely scare me because now there's no limitations anymore.
So
and with
much
that being,
power.
Yeah, too much power. And I thought being the mayor was like too much, and then now I'm God. So, but I really want to see the return of the Dream Suite. Just talking about all the islands. So the Dream Suite in New Leaf was the little like aromatherapy, thing that you could go into, and you could visit other people's islands without them needing to be there and without being able to affect it in any way.
Oh, yeah.
And I would really, really, that's like my one Nintendo please, because I really loved getting to see everybody else's islands, getting to see what everyone was doing without having them to be there, me to be there, wait for 8 people to come in, wait for 8 people to leave. Like, I want to have that solo experience of exploring. So I really hope they add it. I didn't think I was going to miss it as much as I did, but, like, please bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, having to coordinate to go see things is like it's limiting. I mean, it means that you can't go explore all the things you want to explore, especially if you see someone who has a really pretty town online or whatever, but it's like maybe they don't even speak the same language as you, and they're not going to just randomly let you in, but you're like, that looks so cool, I want to go see it.
Yeah. And Kelsey, you had that good tip too, when you have a bunch of people over at your town, instead of letting them all leave single file, if you just end the session, like hit the minus button, and then it'll bump everybody out. That's very handy for sure.
Yeah. I will typically like wait if I think that a kick might be coming. Like if the host might be ending the session soon, I'll be like, I'll just stick around even though I'm ready to leave.
Right. Any other predictions of where this thing's going to be months from now? Things that they'll add?
I mean, we're getting Bunny Day on the 12th, I think. Yeah. So that'll be our first taste of the live event type format that they want to do. So I'm excited for that. We have Bunny Day. I'm looking forward to hopefully I still haven't had like an NPC like Flick or CJ come to my town yet. Yeah. So I hope that I get to, experience that soon. And generally I would just love to see, more furniture. I still feel like I barely scratched the surface on how much is in this game. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I need more. I need like more furniture, more recipes, more amenities, like. So definitely just looking forward to that.
I also feel like we're kind of on like similar cycles. Like I keep seeing a lot of the same furniture, maybe just in a different color, even when I go over to friends' towns and stuff. I'm like, where are like the bigger pieces of furniture? I mean, I've been looking for like a bookcase this entire time and I just haven't. I know there's a bookcase item, like the big one, because I have Celia in my town and she has one in her house, but I haven't had a single friend on like in any community I'm in have a bookcase yet. And I'm like, where are these big items?
Yeah. I want more tables, like stuff to put all my stuff on.
Tables.
I only the small side one. It's ridiculous.
I'm guessing that when we upgrade the shop, which I don't know what amount of bells it's locked behind, usually it's like, spend a certain amount in the shop and then they'll upgrade. I'm guessing when it upgrades, that'll start to get a little bit better, but boy, it's taken a while to upgrade, I feel like, because I've been buying every piece of furniture and I buy a bunch of flowers. Like, I'm spending money in my thing. Usually the first upgrade is easy, and then after that it gets difficult, but they're starting with it difficult.
That's fine. Is there a downside to once you like build the furniture, just like items outside of someone's house when they're moving in, to then just stealing that? Is that cool?
Oh, I mean, like, you want to move them?
No, like, I just want to keep them. Are they going to be mad?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they'll say anything about it. I think you can just kind of take them later.
Okay. It's nice because it's like, it gives you like these new recipes for crafting these things when people move in. But then I'm like, well, now I don't want that in my house because the stupid bird has it over there. So I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and grab this and move it on over. Do you like that system overall of like being able to customize the villager's house so much? Because a lot of the times I'm like, I don't think I really care where they live. Just go ahead and put it anywhere.
For me, it's more like your original villagers and all the houses are kind of the same. So like the cute villagers all live in the same like preppy personality house. So if you go to somebody else's island, like you see a house and you're like, well, Apple has this house. I've seen this before.
Yeah.
So I miss in all the other Animal Crossing games where they all kind of had special furniture. And I'm hoping that maybe unlocks later. But so far, I've been kind of disappointed at the variety of houses my animals are living in. Like, the outside's beautiful. The outside's great. But then you go in and you're like, I've seen this 5 times.
Right.
Like, are we all buying the same, like, Better Homes and Garden magazine? Like, what's happening here? Like,
well, didn't you before this call show us Flora's house, which is just she's a flamingo and it's just full of
got 5 flamingos. So it must be like a ranking system.
Yeah. Very odd. Well, hey, thank you. Oh, Juan Cabrera has a good note to go on. He says, it's my first time game club or any type of book club derivative. Checking in every day on my island, but I just love telling friends and my family that I'm participating in a game club because it feels very high society. Thank you, Ron. We appreciate it. We're here to help you. That's it for the deepest dive on Animal Crossing New Horizons. Thanks to everybody that wrote in. This is when you applaud too.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
We appreciate you all playing along. Yeah, exactly. But the good news is we could do this forever. Maybe that's bad news. But this is the end for now. But it's fun to leave that door open. If we're still quarantined months down the road, who knows what the world's going to be like. But we could kick this thing back off at any point. So if you would like it, let us know. But like maybe sometime like in May after our Final Fantasy VII game club wraps up, maybe later May, just check in and see what kind of insane island Sarah has made now that she's fully embraced terraforming, all that fun stuff. So it's ambiguous. Basically what I'm trying to say is we might be back and we'll probably be back, but that's it for now. But
it's such a slow burn. I think there's going to be so much more that comes out that we discover after a month or 2 months. So it might be worth revisiting.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, anything you would like to plug?
Oh yeah, I have my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/SarahPods. Dom doesn't seem to think that it's a real thing. He insulted me about it, but it is. And it exists, and we play Animal Crossing, and the Animal Crossing rumor mill spins. It weaves its tails.
Perfect. And that's Pods with a Z. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Kelsey, what would you like to plug?
You can follow me on Twitter at @KelsLewin or follow the Video Game History Foundation at GameHistory.org.
Very sweet. And you sent us a PlayStation game from Pink Gorilla in Seattle, which we really appreciated. We're going to be playing that at some point, maybe when Suriel and I can be around each other again. It's a perfect weapon on PlayStation, so I can't wait to play that. So thanks again for shipping that out. And then anytime you need like a $7 PS1 game, I got you. I need a $7 PS1 game every day of the week, Kelsey. That is exactly my cup of tea.
Box?
Oh
Can I get
my
a subscription
God.
box of random $7 PlayStation games?
Absolutely. It's going to be mostly terrible games you're not going to want to play.
No, that's great. Anna, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Anna Likes Pikachu, 1N, or follow Glitch at Hey Glitch.
There we go. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for everybody watching or listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it with a friend. If you're excited about the Final Fantasy VII Remake Game Club coming up, please tell a friend about that. I think it's going to be a really good opportunity to tear that game apart in a positive way. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Bye. MinnMax is a Patreon about games, friends, and getting better. The Deepest Dive is the best, most thorough discussions about games on the internet. Prove us wrong, please. The MinnMax Show podcast airs every Thursday. Patreon supporters vote on what we stream every single week, and a whole lot more. Give us a shot, try subscribing to the YouTube channel, and we hope we can win you over.